last thing, any update on Ryan and Tank negotiations?
Zero whatsoever.
But there are talks.
Hey, we're trying to get a hold of Tank's side. We don't know who to talk to. Nobody picks up their phone. Nobody calls back. I feel they're playing games. So I'm moving on, and I'm going to Teofimo's fight next week.
I think Ryan, you know what I mean, he has a lot of bitch in him, you know what I mean? You know, for a guy that's saying that that he's suffering from some kind of mental health, I really think that it's something that his parents didn't instill in him, you know what I mean? He just has a lot of bitch in him. His dad, you know what I mean, his dad talks just like him, you know what I mean, and they kind of, you know, they both resemble each other.
What's good, YouTube? It's KB with JusDueBoxing, back with another video. And do your boy a favor, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell icon. Watch the video all the way through, man, as I be dropping dope content all the time, man. But we gonna get right into this. And this is Clout Chasing 2.0. That's the title of this video. And what y'all just seen is Oscar De La Hoya speaking on, you know, them moving on from Tank and nobody's answering the phones. They don't know who to speak to. And I feel like that's typical promoter talk, man. He's put in place to make his fighter look good. So, of course, he's going to say something weird and off the cuff like that. All of a sudden, Tank going quiet, like as if he don't want to fight. So now I already see the play. They're going to try to say Tank is ducking. So now he's saying they're going to the Teofimo fight, and basically as if to say he's going to, you know, scout Teofimo because they're moving on next, you know, from Tank to Teofimo. And I called it Clout Chasing 2.0 because this is exactly what it is. So you clout chase Tank name for years. You know, when you actually had the opportunity to fight him after going on a Mike Tyson, you know, podcast, you lied about having a fight with Pacquiao. And you know, you doubled down and said it was going to be on your record, you know, everything on the line. It wasn't no exhibition. It was a full 12 rounds and all things like that. And it got to the point Team Pacquiao had to threaten legal action for you to stop speaking his name in the public. So you was forced to you know, you basically got exposed for lying. You know what I mean? You created a whole fight, lied to the public. Then after your fight against Emmanuel to go, you know, you said you would stop lying to the fans. They've been lied to enough. You know, you want to just let your team handle it and pick your fights, you know what I mean, and move accordingly. And I wanted to give you your just due for that. But then you turn right around, bet $20,000 against Tank with Rolly. You lost that $20,000. Now you're right back clout chasing Tank's name. Now you want us to believe because you at 140, Tank was supposed to go up there. Then you went back and said any weight, anytime, any place. Now all of a sudden your promoter is telling us Tank ain't answering the phone and they don't know who to talk to. I don't believe it. I think it's BS. And I see the play before it even happened, before y'all even call it, before y'all even execute it. Your promoter is going to try to make Tank look like a duck. And when you show me where at in Tank's career, you say he actually ducked anybody. And Ryan Garcia, let's be honest, is not nobody for somebody like Tank to be ducked. You know, you clout chased this man's name for years. Now, I thought that was bad enough. Now you about to actually create this fantasy that he's ducking you and he don't want to fight you. And in reality, you know, you don't have no real intent on fighting him. Now you moved on from him to clout chasing Teofimo. So it's clout chasing 2.0. And I think it's bad for boxing. And I'm calling it out. And this is no personal attack on Ryan. This is a matter of me being a supporter of boxing and being an advocate for the best fight and the best, especially if you keep calling somebody's name. The least you could do is get in the ring. You owe that to yourself, the fans, and that fighter for constantly using his name and having no intent on fighting him to kind of generate some buzz for a fight that the general population and public and general boxing world might not share an interest in. You know, Emmanuel to go. Nobody knows him. Javier Fortuna was overweight on fight night when you just fought him, you know, this past July 16th. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not a good look. If you're going to fight Tank, fight him. If not, stop using his name and clout chasing. It's just not a good look. I can't respect that. It's nothing personal. I just don't respect that. I expect fighters to move like fighters. Then you got, you know, now y'all got Teofimo's name in y'all mouth. And I guarantee you don't fight Teofimo next. That won't be your next fight either. If Gervonta Tank Davis or Teofimo ain't your next fight, then it is what it is. You clout chased, and it's official, and I'm done talking about this kid because he's not being a man of his word, and it's nothing personal. It's just in boxing, I expect fighters to move like fighters, and most importantly, men to move like men. And although he's just 23 years old, he's very young, he still knows better. You get what I'm saying? You have an obligation always as a man first before you are a boxer to be a man of your word and move with integrity and principles and morals. You know what I'm saying? But when he's young-minded, you have no problem clout chasing fighters and never actually getting in the ring. You get what I'm saying? I know you just 23 years old. You got 23 wins, no losses, 19 KOs. He's 24 years old now. He's 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. You know what I mean? Like I say, he fought July 16th, Javier Fortuna, and he got an easy 6-round KO stoppage. He dropped Fortuna in the 4th, 5th, and in the 6th round, and Fortuna was counted out. He didn't give himself a good chance to begin with because he came in, he rehydrated. He was like 156. He just wasn't in good shape, and he didn't have much to offer. Credit to Ryan Garcia for getting him up out of there. You know what I mean? And many of his weaknesses wasn't exploited because the fight didn't go past 6 rounds. And again, there's no slight to Ryan Garcia. Fortuna as a fighter just on that night didn't have much to offer. You know what I'm saying? And then if you're gonna fight Gervonta Tank Davis, then fight him and don't try to make him look like a duck. If you're gonna fight Teofimo Name, fight him. Don't clout chase his name and then probably try to say he ducking you or the fight fell through because of some miscellaneous reason. I'm not buying it. I'm not going for it. You know what I'm saying? Teofimo, you know what I mean, aka the Takeover, he's 16-1 with 12 KOs, just 25 years old, 5'8" with a 68.5-inch reach. Orthodox fighter fighting out of Brooklyn, we all know that. His next fight is coming up this weekend, August 13th, against Pedro Campo, who's 34-1-1 with 23 KOs. Don't let that record deceive you. Although he only lost once, he was knocked out in that loss, and he just faced limited opposition, in my opinion. No doubt this is going to be a get-back fight for Teofimo. And, every fight is dangerous. I understand that. But I think it's levels in boxing. And although this dude is well experienced, I think that's the only thing he really got over Teofimo from the outside looking in going into this fight is experience, fight experience, pro experience, But nonetheless, I expect Teofimo to win this fight. You know what I mean? He's coming off his loss back in 2021 in November over George Kambosos. That was a split decision where he was dropped in the 1st round. You know what I mean? He was fighting emotional, and it cost him. He was able to rally a little bit late, drop Kambosos in the 10th, but unfortunately the damage was already done. He was too far behind the 8 ball to get a decision. He ended up losing a split decision nonetheless. So be looking forward to Teofimo rebounding against Pedro Campo. Like I said, I looked down his resume up and down. He hasn't fought many notable names, if any, and I just think his quality of opposition hasn't been at the level of a young Teofimo. And I think because of that, Teofimo is going to look impressive. I believe he's back focused, and I think he could dominate this kid, Pedro Campo. And Tank Davis, man, we all know what Tank brings to the table. Like, I just think it gets to a place in boxing where the clout chasing has to stop and people have to come in terms with reality. Don't try to make Tank look like a duck. I had somebody on my live arguing with me about it, saying Tank running, ducking, scared, and all this weird energy. But they don't have anything to say about Ryan Garcia clearly avoiding this guy when he had the opportunity. He guaranteed Mike Tyson that he was going to fight Tank in his next fight. Told Tank if he don't fight him next, then nobody's going to take him serious. His boxing career is over. All this weird stuff. But then you went and lied about a Pacquiao fight to avoid Tank Davis. And then you continue that trend with several other fighters, mentioning their names and not fighting them. You even mentioned Tevin Farmer, the Jojo Diaz's of the world. Like, you was been supposed to fight Fortuna. Like, you lied about the Pacquiao fight. Now you're clout chasing Teofimo. Like, it just never stops with Ryan Garcia. And I think as a man, it's time for him to start holding himself accountable. If Tank Davis is not the guy that you want to fight, then stop lying to yourself in the boxing public, in the world, that saying you want to fight this kid. I mean, it's disrespectful. And it's played out, honestly. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't know how people could support that. And again, not him, the person, the moves that he's making. Saying, I want this fighter, I want this fighter, I want this fighter, and never fighting him. And it seemed like people are cool with that. Me, myself, I'm never going to be cool with that. And again, if he do this to Teofimo, and y'all so-called Ryan Garcia fans don't call it out, then y'all exactly what's wrong with boxing. You want men to be men of their words, fighters to move like fighters and challenge themselves against the absolute best if that's what they're telling us they're in the sport for. If it's legacy first, then show us that by making the right moves and challenging yourself accordingly against the right fighters. Other than that, people are going to not take you seriously. And that goes for Ryan Garcia. Stop clout chasing Tank. You know what I mean? He's very dangerous, and you know that. So, you know what I mean? But you got to get in there. You in boxing. You 23 years old, but you asking to be in there with an elite fighter like Tank. So I'm not giving you no pass for not fighting him. And people keep saying he's 23, he's 24 years old. I get it. He's young, but he's old enough to know better. And you in the sport of boxing. And I think it's time he starts stepping it up and being a man of his word. The lying has to stop. You need to be more transparent and more consistent with your fan base. You know what I mean? Stop using Tank Davis, name to build your profile. You've been doing it for years now, and I think that story is getting old, and I truly hope that we get a Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia next, because that fight needs to happen because he keeps asking for it. If he asks for it, give it to him. And another thing I wanted to mention before I get out, let y'all go in this video is I also read an article where Maxie Hughes of the UK did an interview, and he spoke about Ryan Garcia and how they speak and behind the scenes personally, with each other. And he says Ryan Garcia is discussing how he wants to make a fight with him. And Maxie Hughes went on to say that he has no reason to believe that Ryan, is not being serious with the talks that they're having. So that's also, that Ryan Garcia's hand being exposed, and the public is Tank. But behind closed doors, you secretly trying to make a fight with Maxie Hughes. You get what I'm saying? And who's relatively unknown. I mean, he's from the UK, but like I say, he's relatively unknown. And this guy is 25, 5-2. He's been knocked out twice. He's 32 years old. You know what I'm saying? And he, his losses came against, although they came against undefeated fighters. So he's pretty much like a journeyman nonetheless. You know what I mean? They put him against the undefeated fighters to test them to see where they're at. And it'd be no difference with Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean? And even with the limited opposition that Maxie Hughes has faced thus far, Ryan Garcia might actually be the best opponent he faced. So I just don't see that being much of a competitive fight for Ryan Garcia. I think that's a backup plan for them. So y'all stay tuned and keep your eyes and ears open for that. Because don't be surprised if Ryan Garcia end up fighting Maxie Hughes and then trying to convince the world that Tank Davis ducked him, when we all know, it's him and he's been clout chasing. And how are you secretly in talks with a whole nother fighter if you truly want Tank? And that's what I don't respect. In the public, you want everybody to think it's Tank, and behind closed doors is Maxie Hughes. In the public, you're gonna want people to think Tank Davis ducked you, but behind closed doors is you and Maxie Hughes, in contact with each other, and you discussing having a fight with him. So, man, that's my thoughts on it, man. Y'all get in the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this Ryan Garcia clout chasing 2.0. Clout chasing Teofimo Lopez. What y'all think about Oscar De La Hoya helping him, clout chase one fighter after another? And y'all let me know what y'all think and who y'all got winning if the fight was to happen between Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, or Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez. Or do y'all want to see Ryan Garcia face Maxie Hughes of the UK with 5 losses and 2 draws and been knocked out twice already? You know what I mean? Let me know what y'all think, man. And as always, get in that comment section and let me know if I gave Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Tank Davis, and that boy Teofimo Lopez that Just Do, because that's what I do over here at Just Do Boxing. Till the next one, I'm out. Peace.